your go-to podcast for learning English in a fun and engaging way. My name is Adam, and I'm excited to be here with you today.
And I'm Julia. We're so glad you're joining us today. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to improve your English skills, we're here to help you on your journey.
That's right, Julia. Today's episode is going to be all about something that we think is super important: the benefits of learning a new language. Learning a new language is not just about picking up new words and grammar. It's about opening doors to new opportunities, cultures, and experiences.
Exactly, Adam. But before we dive into those benefits, let's take a moment to think about why this is such an important topic. Understanding the benefits of learning a new language can really motivate you to keep going, especially when things get tough. We all know that learning a language can be challenging, but knowing what's waiting for you at the end of the road can make the journey much more exciting.
Absolutely. Whether you're learning English, Spanish, French, or any other language, the benefits are often universal. They can help you in so many areas of life, from your personal growth to your professional career, and even in making new friends around the world.
And let's not forget the personal satisfaction you get from learning a new language. There's a real sense of accomplishment that comes with being able to understand and communicate in a language that was once foreign to you.
So, in today's episode, we're going to explore all these benefits in detail. We'll talk about how learning a new language can improve your memory, open up new career opportunities, help you connect with people from different cultures, and so much more.
By the end of this episode, we hope you'll feel even more motivated to continue your language learning journey. Whether you're just starting out or you've been learning for a while, there's always something new to discover and enjoy.
We're really excited to share all of this with you today. So, get comfortable, grab a notebook if you'd like to take notes, and let's dive into the wonderful world of language learning. Before we get into the specific benefits of learning a new language, let's take a moment to share some of our own experiences. I know for me, learning a new language was a game changer. Back in college, I decided to take up Spanish. At first, it was just a requirement for my degree, but it quickly turned into something I was passionate about.
That's so interesting, Adam. What was it about learning Spanish that made you passionate about it?
It was a combination of things. Initially, I struggled with the basics. Vocabulary, grammar, and even pronunciation were challenging. But once I got the hang of it, something clicked. I remember traveling to Spain for the first time after a few semesters of learning, and being able to have real conversations with locals was incredible. It wasn't just about speaking another language. It was like a whole new world opened up to me.
I can totally relate to that. When I started learning French, I found it really challenging too. The pronunciation was particularly tough for me, and there were times when I felt like giving up. But I kept going because I knew it was something I wanted to achieve.
That's the thing. Language learning can be tough, but the rewards are so worth it. For me, one of the biggest benefits was the confidence boost. Being able to navigate a foreign country, order food, ask for directions, and even make new friends, all in Spanish, was such an empowering experience. It made me realize how much learning a language can impact your life.
I agree. For me, the most rewarding part was being able to connect with people on a deeper level. When I visited France, I was able to engage in conversations that went beyond just the basics. I could talk about culture, share stories, and really get to know people. It's amazing how learning a language can break down barriers and bring people together.
And that's something we hope our listeners can experience too. Speaking of which, we'd love to hear from you. Have you tried learning a new language? What has your experience been like?
Yes, we'd love to know. Maybe you've noticed some of the benefits we're going to talk about today, or perhaps you're still in the early stages and looking for motivation to keep going. Whatever your story is, we want to hear it.
Exactly. And while you're thinking about that, take a moment to reflect on why you want to learn a new language in the first place. Is it for travel? To advance in your career? Or maybe to connect with your heritage?
Knowing your why can be a powerful motivator, especially when the learning gets tough. So take some time to think about it. We'll be sharing some of the benefits that might align with your reasons in just a bit.
And if you're comfortable, Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comments or on our social media. We're all in this journey together, and sharing our experiences can make it even more rewarding.
Absolutely. And now that we've shared a bit about our own journeys, let's dive into the amazing benefits of learning a new language. Trust us, you won't want to miss this. Now that we've shared our personal experiences and hopefully got you thinking about your own language learning journey, it's time to dive into the heart of today's episode. We're going to explore the many benefits of learning a new language, starting with some of the incredible cognitive advantages. So, Adam, let's kick things off with one of the most talked about benefits: improved memory.
Absolutely, Julia. Memory is such a crucial part of our everyday lives. And interestingly enough, learning a new language can really boost your memory in ways you might not expect. When you're learning a new language, you're constantly absorbing new vocabulary, grammar rules, and phrases. This process exercises your brain, making it work harder to retain and recall information.
That's right, Adam. It's like a workout for your brain. Think about how, when you start learning a new word, you might repeat it several times, use it in sentences, and try to remember it later. All of this repetition helps to strengthen your memory. In fact, research has shown that people who speak more than one language often have better short-term and long-term memory compared to those who only speak one language.
And it doesn't stop there. Learning a new language also involves making associations between words, concepts, and even emotions. For example, when you learn the word for sun in another language, you might also start to associate that word with the feeling of warmth or happiness, just like you do in your native language. This kind of mental association is a great way to enhance memory because it connects new information to things you already know.
Exactly, Adam. And another aspect of memory improvement is that learning a language requires you to regularly switch between languages, especially if you're already bilingual or multilingual. This switching process, known as code switching, strengthens the brain's ability to focus and remember details. It's like giving your brain a multitasking workout.
Yes, and let's not forget about vocabulary. When you learn new words in a different language, you're expanding your mental dictionary. Over time, this not only improves your memory for the new language, but also enhances your overall memory skills. It's fascinating how our brains can grow and adapt in response to the challenges of language learning.
Speaking of challenges, another incredible cognitive benefit of learning a new language is the improvement in problem-solving skills. Adam, have you noticed this in your own experience?
Oh, absolutely. When you learn a new language, you're constantly faced with challenges, whether it's understanding a tricky grammar rule, figuring out how to express a complex idea, or even just making sense of a conversation in a foreign language. All of these challenges require you to think critically and creatively, which really sharpens your problem-solving abilities.
That's so true. For example, let's say you're trying to have a conversation with someone in a language you're still learning, and you don't know the exact word you need. You might have to think on your feet and find a different way to express your idea, like using simpler words or even describing what you're trying to say. This kind of creative thinking is a great exercise for your brain and can help you become a better problem solver in other areas of your life as well.
Definitely. And it's not just about finding alternative ways to express yourself. When you learn a new language, you also become more aware of the nuances in meaning and context. For instance, a word might have different meanings depending on the situation, or a phrase might be used differently in casual versus formal settings. Understanding these subtleties requires you to pay close attention and think critically, which further enhances your problem-solving skills.
And let's not forget that learning a language also involves a lot of trial and error. You might make mistakes, mispronounce words, or misunderstand something. But each of these experiences teaches you to analyze the situation, identify what went wrong, and figure out how to do better next time. This kind of analytical thinking is a key part of problem solving, and it's something that can really benefit you in all areas of life.
Exactly, Julia. The ability to think on your feet, adapt to new situations, and come up with creative solutions are all skills that can be developed through language learning. And these skills are incredibly valuable, not just in personal situations, but also in professional settings where problem solving is often a key component of success.
That's such an important point, Adam. And speaking of valuable skills, there's another cognitive benefit of language learning that's worth mentioning: delayed onset of dementia. This might sound surprising, but studies have shown that people who are bilingual or multilingual have a lower risk of developing dementia and other cognitive impairments later in life.
It's truly fascinating, Julia. The research suggests that the mental workout involved in learning and using multiple languages helps to build up what's known as cognitive reserve. This cognitive reserve is essentially the brain's ability to cope with and compensate for damage or decline. So, when you've spent years challenging your brain with language learning, you're essentially building up a defense against cognitive decline.
That's right. And it's not just about preventing dementia. Learning a new language can also help to maintain and even improve brain function as we age. For example, older adults who take up language learning often show improvements in memory, attention, and even reasoning skills. It's like giving your brain a new lease on life.
And the benefits aren't limited to those who are already fluent in multiple languages. Even if you start learning a new language later in life, you can still enjoy these cognitive benefits. It's never too late to start, and every little bit of language learning you do contributes to keeping your brain healthy and active.
So true, Adam. The idea that something as enjoyable as learning a new language can have such profound effects on our cognitive health is really inspiring. It's a great reminder that the effort we put into language learning is about so much more than just communication. It's an investment in our long-term mental well-being.
Absolutely, Julia. Whether it's improving memory, sharpening problem-solving skills, or protecting against cognitive decline, the cognitive benefits of learning a new language are truly remarkable. And these are just a few of the many reasons why language learning is such a worthwhile pursuit.
And with that, we've covered the first segment of today's episode, but don't go anywhere. There's so much more to explore when it comes to the benefits of learning a new language. Up next, we'll be talking about the cultural advantages and how learning a language can open doors to new experiences and connections.
Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after this short break.
If you've been following along, we've just discussed some of the incredible cognitive benefits that come with learning a new language: improved memory, enhanced problem-solving skills, and even delaying cognitive decline. But there's so much more to explore, and now we're going to dive into another fascinating aspect of language learning: the cultural benefits.
That's right, Julia. When we talk about learning a new language, we often focus on the practical aspects: communicating in a new tongue, navigating a foreign country, or even advancing in our careers. But one of the most enriching parts of learning a language is how it connects us to different cultures. Julia, why don't you start us off by talking about how language learning helps us understand and appreciate different cultures?
I'd love to, Adam. You know, language and culture are deeply intertwined. When you learn a new language, you're not just memorizing words and grammar rules. You're also gaining insight into the way people from different parts of the world think, communicate, and live their lives. This understanding goes beyond just the literal meaning of words. It's about grasping the cultural context in which those words are used.
That's such an important point, Julia. Can you give us an example of how language learning has helped you understand a different culture?
Absolutely. When I was learning Japanese, I quickly realized that the language reflects many of the cultural values that are central to Japanese society. For instance, the way people speak to each other in Japanese often depends on their social status, age, and the level of formality required in the situation. There are different forms of address, levels of politeness, and even different verbs to show respect. This isn't just about language. It's a reflection of the deep respect for hierarchy and social harmony that is so important in Japanese culture.
That's fascinating, Julia. So, by learning Japanese, you didn't just learn how to communicate. You also gained a deeper appreciation for the cultural values that shape interactions in Japan.
Exactly, Adam. And it goes even further than that. When you start to understand a culture's values and norms through its language, you become more empathetic and open-minded. You start to see the world through a different lens, and this can really broaden your perspective. For example, in Japanese culture, the concept of wo, which means harmony, is central to social interactions. Understanding this concept helped me to appreciate why certain behaviors, like maintaining group harmony and avoiding conflict, are so important in Japan.
That's a great example, Julia. And this kind of cultural understanding isn't limited to Japanese or any other specific language. Whether you're learning Spanish, Arabic, French, or any other language, you're also learning about the culture that speaks that language. This can lead to a deeper appreciation of things like traditions, customs, holidays, and even food.
Absolutely, Adam. And what's really exciting is that this cultural understanding isn't just academic. It's something you can experience firsthand when you travel. Speaking of which, why don't we talk about how knowing the local language can enhance your travel experiences?
Great idea, Julia. Travel is one of the most rewarding ways to experience a new culture, and knowing the local language can make those experiences even richer. When you can speak the language of the place you're visiting, you're able to connect with people in a much more meaningful way. You're not just a tourist observing from the outside, you're participating in the culture and engaging with it directly.
That's so true, Adam. Do you have any personal stories where knowing the local language made your travels more special?
Oh, definitely. One of the most memorable experiences I had was during a trip to Italy. I had been learning Italian for a few months before the trip, and while I wasn't fluent, I could hold basic conversations. When I arrived in Rome, I decided to try out my Italian at a local cafe. I ordered my coffee in Italian and started chatting with the barista. He was so impressed that I was making an effort to speak his language, and we ended up having a great conversation about the best places to visit in the city, places that weren't even in the guidebooks.
That sounds amazing, Adam. It's those kinds of connections that really make travel special, isn't it?
Absolutely, Julia. And it's not just about getting tips from locals, although that's definitely a perk. Speaking the local language can open doors to experiences that you might not have otherwise. For example, during that same trip to Italy, I was invited to a family dinner by a local I met. The entire evening was spent speaking in Italian, and I was able to really connect with the family on a personal level. We talked about everything from food to history to local customs. It was an experience I'll never forget, and it wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't made the effort to learn the language.
That's such a powerful example, Adam. And it really highlights how language learning can transform your travel experiences. When you can speak the local language, you're not just visiting a place, you're truly experiencing it. You're able to interact with people on a deeper level, understand the culture from within, and create memories that go beyond just sightseeing.
Exactly, Julia. And these kinds of experiences aren't just limited to travel. When you learn a new language, you're also opening yourself up to building relationships with people from different backgrounds, whether that's in your own community or anywhere in the world. Language is a powerful tool for connecting with others, and it's something that can bring people together in ways that nothing else can.
That's so true, Adam. Language learning isn't just about communication, it's about connection. When you speak someone's language, you're showing them that you respect their culture and that you're willing to meet them halfway. This can be incredibly powerful in building relationships, whether they're personal or professional.
Do you have any stories, Julia, about how language learning has helped you build connections with people from different backgrounds?
I do, actually. When I was learning French, I joined a language exchange group where people from different countries would meet up to practice speaking in each other's languages. One of the people I met there was a woman from Morocco who spoke both Arabic and French. We started out by helping each other with language practice, but over time, we became really good friends. We would talk about our cultures, our families, and our experiences. Through these conversations, I learned so much about Moroccan culture and she learned about mine. It was such a meaningful connection, and it all started with language learning.
That's such a great example, Julia. And it really shows how language learning can break down barriers and bring people together. When you can speak someone's language, you're able to connect with them on a much deeper level. You're able to share experiences, exchange ideas, and build a relationship that's based on mutual understanding and respect.
Exactly, Adam. And this kind of connection isn't just limited to friendships. In a professional context, being able to speak another language can also help you build strong working relationships with colleagues, clients, and partners from different countries. It shows that you're culturally aware and that you're committed to effective communication, which can really set you apart in a globalized world.
That's a great point, Julia. In today's global economy, being able to speak multiple languages is more valuable than ever. It can open up new career opportunities, help you stand out in the job market, and make you more effective in your work. But beyond the professional advantages, the ability to connect with people from different cultures is one of the most rewarding aspects of language learning.
Absolutely, Adam. When you learn a new language, you're not just gaining a skill, you're gaining a new way to connect with the world. You're opening yourself up to new experiences, new perspectives, and new relationships. And that's something truly special.
I couldn't agree more, Julia. The cultural benefits of language learning are profound, and they go far beyond just speaking the language. It's about understanding, connection, and making the world a little bit smaller by bridging the gaps between us. So, whether you're learning a language for travel, for work, or just for fun, remember that you're also gaining the ability to connect with people from different cultures in a meaningful way.
Well said, Adam. And with that, we've covered the second segment of today's episode. But don't go anywhere. We've still got more to explore when it comes to the benefits of learning a new language. Up next, we'll be talking about how language learning can improve your career prospects and open up new opportunities.
If you've been following along, we've already explored the cognitive and cultural benefits of learning a new language. Now, we're moving on to the final segment of today's episode, where we'll dive into the professional benefits of being bilingual or multilingual. This is an area that can have a significant impact on your career and professional life, so we're really excited to share this with you.
That's right, Adam. Learning a new language is not just a personal or cultural endeavor. It can also be a major asset in your professional life. In today's globalized world, where businesses operate across borders and cultures, the ability to speak multiple languages is more valuable than ever. So let's start with how being bilingual or multilingual can open up more job opportunities. Adam, would you like to kick off this discussion?
Of course, Julia. One of the most immediate and obvious professional benefits of learning a new language is the increased number of job opportunities that become available to you. Many companies, especially those with international operations, highly value employees who can speak more than one language. In fact, being bilingual or multilingual can often be the deciding factor in whether or not you get hired for a particular job.
That's such a crucial point, Adam. And it's not just about the number of job opportunities. It's also about the quality of those opportunities. Employees who are proficient in multiple languages are often considered for roles that involve international travel, working with clients or partners from different countries, or even relocating abroad. These roles can be more challenging and rewarding, offering greater responsibilities and, often, higher salaries.
Absolutely, Julia. I remember when I was working for a multinational company a few years ago, there was a significant project that required collaboration with teams in both France and Germany. Because I had learned French, I was given the opportunity to lead the project, which involved frequent travel to Paris and Berlin, as well as regular communication with our French and German colleagues. It was an incredible experience that really boosted my career. Without my language skills, I wouldn't have been considered for that role.
That's a great example, Adam. And it really illustrates how knowing another language can set you apart in the job market. Employers are always looking for candidates who can bring something extra to the table, and language skills are a big plus. In fact, in some industries such as tourism, hospitality, international trade, and diplomacy, being able to speak multiple languages isn't just a bonus, it's often a requirement.
Exactly, Julia. And even in industries where language skills aren't an absolute requirement, they can still give you a competitive edge. For example, if you're in sales, marketing, customer service, or any role that involves communication with clients, knowing your client's native language can be a huge advantage. It helps build trust, improve customer relationships, and ultimately, close more deals.
That's so true, Adam. But the benefits of learning a new language extend beyond just job opportunities. One of the often overlooked aspects is how it improves your overall communication skills. Let's talk about that next. How does learning another language help us become better communicators?
Great question, Julia. When you learn a new language, you're not just memorizing vocabulary and grammar, you're also learning how to express yourself in a different way. This process makes you more aware of the nuances of language, such as tone, context, and cultural sensitivities. As a result, you become more thoughtful and deliberate in how you communicate, even in your native language.
That's a really important point, Adam. Learning another language forces you to think about how you construct sentences, choose your words, and convey meaning. This increased awareness and attention to detail can translate into more effective communication skills overall. You become better at listening, more empathetic in your interactions, and more skilled at navigating conversations, whether they're in your second language or your first.
Absolutely, Julia. For example, when you're learning a new language, you often have to simplify your sentences and be more concise to make sure you're understood. This practice can help you become a clearer communicator in general. It also teaches you the importance of non-verbal communication, like body language and facial expressions, which are crucial in cross-cultural interactions.
And let's not forget about the impact on listening skills. When you're learning a new language, you have to really focus on what the other person is saying in order to understand them. This heightened attention improves your active listening skills, which is a key component of effective communication. You become more attuned to the subtleties of language, such as intonation and emphasis, which can make you a more perceptive listener.
That's right, Julia. And these improved communication skills are incredibly valuable in the workplace. Whether you're leading a team, negotiating with clients, or collaborating with colleagues from different departments, being able to communicate effectively is essential. Language learning helps you develop these skills, making you a more competent and confident communicator in any professional setting.
Let's start with this sentence. Can you read it aloud?
The cat chased the mouse across the kitchen floor.
Good, but let's work on the word chased. Try to make the CH sound sharper.
Like this. Chased.
Better. Now, say the whole sentence again.
The cat chased the mouse across the kitchen floor.
Great. Now, let's focus on your tone. Try to make it sound more natural.
Natural? You mean like how you would say it?
Exactly. Think of how you'd tell a story to a friend. Give it a little flow.
Okay, the cat chased the mouse across the kitchen floor, like that?
Much better. Did you notice how your voice sounded more relaxed?
Yeah, it felt smoother, I guess.
That's the key. Now, let's look at the second sentence. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Here it is. The mouse darted under the cupboard to hide. Try that.
The mouse darted under the cupboard to hide.
Nice, but darted could use a bit more emphasis. Say it like the mouse is moving really fast.
The mouse darted under the cupboard to hide, like that?
Perfect. What does darted mean, by the way?
To move quickly, right?
Exactly. See how understanding the meaning helps with the expression?
Yeah, it makes it easier to say it the right way.
Good. Let's practice linking under the cupboard. It needs to sound smoother.
Under the cupboard, how do I link them?
Say it as one phrase, not to separate words. Under the cupboard.
Oh, I see. The mouse darted under the cupboard to hide.
Exactly. Let's try it one more time.
The mouse darted under the cupboard to hide.
Perfect. Now, let's move to the next part.
All right, here's the next sentence. The cat hesitated for a moment, then started sniffing around the cupboard. Can you read it?
The cat hesitated for a moment, then started sniffing around the cupboard.
Good, but let's slow it down a little. Focus on the word hesitated. Try saying it with more pause, like the cat is really thinking.
The cat hesitated for a moment, then started sniffing around the cupboard. Like that.
Yes, exactly. Adding that pause makes it feel more real. Now, let's work on sniffing around. How do you think the cat is moving?
Probably slowly, like it's being careful.
Right, so when you say sniffing around, your tone should match that careful movement.
The cat hesitated for a moment, then started sniffing around the cupboard. Does that sound better?
Much better. Now, let's try linking for a moment more smoothly. It should sound like one flow, not three separate words.
For a moment, okay. I'll try. The cat hesitated for a moment, then started sniffing around the cupboard.
Perfect. Do you notice how linking makes it sound more natural?
Yeah, it feels easier to say to.
Good. Now, here's the next sentence. The mouse stayed perfectly still, hoping not to be found. Give it a shot.
The mouse stayed perfectly still, hoping not to be found.
Nice start, but let's focus on perfectly still. Say it in a way that really emphasizes how quiet the mouse is.
The mouse stayed perfectly still, hoping not to be found. Is that better?
Much better. Now, let's work on hoping not to be found. Can you say it with a little tension, like the mouse is nervous?
Hoping not to be found, like this.
Yes, exactly. Do you feel the difference when you add emotion?